Welcome back to Joel Goldsmith Heart Training, where we take the timeless wisdom of the infinite way and make it real, felt, and lived. If you're joining us for the first time, this is the second video in our 7-step series based on Joel Goldsmith's classic pamphlet, The Real Teacher and the 7 Steps. In Step 1, we met the radical truth that we were never born of matter, that our true Father is Spirit, and our identity is eternal. Today, Step 2 follows that truth to its natural conclusion. If Spirit is our origin, then what does that mean about everything else? Our home, our money, our health, our supply. Let me read you something Goldsmith wrote that I think is one of the most liberating statements in all of spiritual literature. Give up the sense of personal possession. It is a wrong sense. All that you or I possess of health, wealth, home, activity, intelligence, belongs to the infinite universal mind, life, spirit, which we call God, and therefore all that the Father has and is expressed as the individual Son. Personal possession, the very thing we cling to as security. Goldsmith says it is the source of our lack. Today, we explore why, and more importantly, we feel our way into the alternative. In the first video of this series, we explored the opening step from the 7 steps. Recognizing God as the only Father. That realization begins the spiritual journey because it shifts our sense of identity from material origin to spiritual origin. If God is the only Father, then our life must originate in God. But that realization immediately raises a deeper question. What is God? If our life originates in God, we must understand the nature of that source. The second step answers that question with a simple yet profound statement from the Gospel of John. God is Spirit, John 4:24. In this video, we explore what it means to live in a spiritual universe rather than a material one. Foundational narrative, the unfolding of the 7 steps. After Joel S. Goldsmith wrote down the 7 Bible passages that became the foundation of the 7 steps, he realized something important. Simply listing scriptures was not enough. Each passage had to unfold spiritually. He explained that as he reread the passages, their meaning began to open inwardly. He later said, "As I read each one of those passages, the meaning began to unfold, and I wrote it down." When the school teacher returned, he gave her 7 weekly lessons, each built on one passage and one principle. For the first time, the teaching of spiritual truth became progressive rather than scattered. This is why the 7 steps form a spiritual sequence. One realization leads naturally to the next. After recognizing God as the only Father, the next discovery must be the nature of that Father, and the second step reveals it. God is Spirit. Scriptural foundation continued. The second step is anchored in Psalm 24. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, and Goldsmith pairs it with one of the most beautiful promises in Scripture. Son, all that I have is thine, Luke 15:31. The logic is breathtaking. If God, infinite mind, universal Spirit, is the only source, and if you are the individual expression of that source, then you are not separate from the supply. You are in it. It flows through you, as you, always. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. In the first step, we found necessary to renounce human birth, mortale conception, earthly parentage, in order to realize that man is wholly spiritual. It must follow that the source of man, infinite Spirit, must likewise be the possessor of all that is. Home, furnishings, clothing, money, employment, business, all of these must be seen as spiritual ideas of mind. In mind, give up the sense of personal possession. All that you or I possess belongs to the infinite universal mind which we call God. Looking upon God as the infinite source, we look upon all men and things as creation or manifestation, all having the same source, we need never look to any manifested being for anything, but for all things look directly to the source, or better still, look within our own consciousness where infinite mind is forever expressing its bounties. Exposition and teaching. Here is what this means practically. When you feel lack of money, health, love, opportunity, the feeling arises from one source, the belief that you are a separate person who must acquire what you do not have. You believe the supply is out there, and you are in here, and there is a gap. But Goldsmith dissolves that gap at the root. If infinite mind is the only possessor, and if your consciousness is not separate from that mind, then there is no gap. The supply isn't coming. It's already present in the only place anything can be present, consciousness. This is why affirmations of abundance often don't work. You can repeat "I am prosperous" 1,000 times while your heart is still saying "I am afraid." The affirmation lives in the head. The fear lives in the heart. The heart wins every time. Heart training means working at the level where it matters. God is spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. John 4:24. At first glance, this may seem obvious. Many religions affirm that God is spiritual. But in the infinite way, this statement carries a radical implication. If God is spirit, then reality must be spiritual. And if reality is spiritual, then the material sense of life cannot be ultimate reality. As Joel Goldsmith explains, if God is spirit, then his universe must be spiritual, and man as his image must also be spiritual. The 7 steps. This insight begins to shift our perception of the world. Principle unfolding. Human perception is conditioned by the 5 senses. Through these senses we see bodies, objects, events, circumstances. But the spiritual mystics throughout history have taught that the senses do not reveal ultimate reality. They reveal appearances. The spiritual universe is perceived through spiritual awareness. Joel Goldsmith expressed it this way: spirit is the substance of all form. What appears outwardly as matter is the visible expression of invisible spirit. In other words, spirit is the substance behind all appearance. This realization transforms many aspects of life. For example, supply is no longer material wealth. Supply becomes spiritual substance expressing itself outwardly. Health is no longer a condition of the body. Health becomes the harmony of spiritual being appearing as bodily health. When we begin to perceive reality spiritually, the entire world changes. Demonstration story. A demonstration story. The business owner who let go. Thomas was a business owner who came to an Infinite Way study group in crisis. His company was failing, and he had already exhausted every human solution, loans, consultants, cutbacks. He was on the edge of bankruptcy. A senior student offered him step 2, not as business advice, as a spiritual practice. Every morning, she told him, before you look at the numbers, sit in silence and declare, the earth is the Lord's, including this business. It does not belong to me to save. It belongs to the infinite source to express through. Thomas resisted. That sounds like giving up. No, she said. Giving up is what you've been doing. Giving up to fear. This is giving over to source. He practiced it for 3 weeks. He said he felt something he hadn't felt in years, a kind of spaciousness in his chest where the panic used to be. Within 6 weeks, an unexpected partnership came through from a direction he had never considered. The business didn't just survive. It changed form into something more aligned with what he actually loved. He later said, I stopped trying to save my business and started showing up present. The source took it from there. Story 2. Healing through spiritual awareness. A student once came seeking help for a physical condition that had resisted medical treatment. Instead of focusing on the body, the practitioner turned attention inward and contemplated the truth: God is spirit. If God is spirit, then the real man must be spiritual. The body is only the outward expression of consciousness. As this realization deepened, the fear surrounding the condition dissolved. Within a short time, the physical symptoms disappeared. The healing came not by manipulating matter, but by recognizing the spiritual nature of reality. Story 3. Discovering spiritual supply. Another student faced a severe financial crisis. All outward evidence suggested lack. During meditation, she reflected on this truth. Spirit is the substance of life. Supply, therefore, must originate in spirit, not in external conditions. Within days, unexpected opportunities appeared, income increased, and the crisis passed. The outer change followed the inner realization. Story 4. Guidance from spiritual awareness. A business leader once faced a difficult decision involving his company. Instead of analyzing endlessly, he turned inward in quiet contemplation. He held to the truth, God is spirit. Therefore, true intelligence must come from spirit. In that stillness, an unexpected solution appeared, one he had not previously considered. The decision turned out to be exactly right. Heart practice. Your heart practice for step 2, the practice of release and reception. Each morning this week, before you check your phone, your email, or your bank account, sit quietly and breathe. Then, slowly and deliberately, feel these words. Everything I appear to possess, my home, my health, my work, my relationships, belongs to the infinite source. I am not its owner. I am its expression, and as the expression of infinite mind, all that the Father has is mine. I do not reach for supply. I receive it. It flows in, through, and as my life. Notice what you feel if tension arises. Good. That tension is the belief of personal possession surfacing to be released. Don't fight it. Just return gently to, the earth is the Lord's, and I am the Lord's expression of it. The secret of supply is this: there is no such thing as your supply or my supply. There is only God's supply expressing itself infinitely as individual experience. Let us take a few more moments of quiet contemplation. Become still. Release the outer world for a moment. Consider this realization: God is spirit. Spirit is the substance of life. Spirit is the substance of my being. Spirit is the source of supply, health, and intelligence. Let the mind grow quiet as this truth settles into consciousness. If you feel led to support the Living Christ Awakening work, and you feel the pull of this teaching, that pull itself is the presence calling. In the description below, you will find a Show Love link, an appeal for quiet participation in this unfolding of consciousness across the world. Joel Goldsmith taught his students to sit with these steps, not rush through them. This week, let step to become something you feel in your gut when a bill arrives. Let it be the breath you take when worry rises. Let it be the quiet knowing underneath the noise. The fullness belongs to the source, and I am one with that source. In step 3, we go even deeper. The glory I had in the beginning with thee, Father, is still mine. We're going to explore what it means to reclaim your original divine inheritance, the glory that was yours before the world gave you its fears. If step 2 is speaking to you, please share it. Someone you know is struggling with lack, with fear, with the exhausting effort of trying to hold everything together. This message is for them. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. What area of your life do you most need to feel the fullness of the Lord? Let's hold that space together in the comments. See you in step 3. Closing realization. The second step reveals the nature of the divine source. God is not material power, God is spirit. And if God is spirit, then our true identity must also be spiritual. From that realization comes the next great discovery. It is expressed in the words of the Gospel of John. I and the Father are one. This statement leads us to the third step of spiritual awakening, discovering the inner Christ.